everybody, I'm Tommy, and you were on the lifeboat. Hey, Vicky Hurley, what a kind thing to say. Every once in a while, someone will say something that restores faith in humanity. Hey, Footscray, Australia, been awake 36 seconds. Yeah, well, you're waking up in a good way. People, this is going to chap the backsides of a lot of people when I do this show, and it is what it is. Do me a favor, smack that like button, hit subscribe, and then hit the bell for notification. Joe Mama, good to have you here. Hey, Shannon. Bye, you babe. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Jason. Good morning. Ash Bash, what's happening from New York City? The city's so nice, they named it twice. Right? New York, New York. All right, people, here we go. First of all, let's start with the painfully obvious, right? This has been a case that has been badly mishandled from the very first second that it started. Hey, Cher. Glad you're here. Alex, what's happening? November Rain. What a great song. The Desi Do. Kumar, this has been mishandled. And unfortunately, I've been calling this guy Barney Fife. I think Hollywood Fife might be a better idea. Yeah, I heard that too. Brian Enton says HRT is in Tucson, not Mexico. That makes a lot more sense. Thank you, The Punisher. I appreciate that. From Louisville, Kentucky. All right. And from Massachusetts. I think we know where she's calling in from. Hey, Paul, Northeast Missouri. Roberta says 151 of you and 32 people have hit the like button. You know what? It really does help, people. You've been doing a great job on that. And it pushes me out because I'm going to say all kinds of things I'm not supposed to say, and I don't care. So I could use all the help I can get. Parkersburg, West Virginia, the Mop Man. Always a pleasure to have you here, man. Mop Man says a lot of very intelligent things. A lot of you do. I'm going to tell you some things today that are going to be uncomfortable. First of all, how about a little critical thinking? Think of the stuff that we're being told by this sheriff and the stuff that we're not being told. Polygraph tests are being used. If by some chance he came out and said, hey, guess what? The family has taken polygraph tests and we've excluded all of them. Be a great thing, right? Instead, he comes out and says, we're using a device that is going to allow us to focus in just on her pacemaker. What do you think that does to the people out there listening to it? And I don't mean us. The stuff that they're putting out is going to be stuff that it would probably be better if the crooks, the bad guys, didn't know was out there. Like the backpack stuff. Honest to God. I mean, we can speculate on it. That would be a lot better than them coming out and saying, hey, this backpack is only sold at Walmart. We're scaring the crap out of the people that did this crime. And if by some chance she is still out there, she becomes more of a liability every day. The closer you think they are to getting onto you, the more that woman at 84 years of age that you're babysitting just becomes more of a liability. And I'm sorry I caught so much hate for saying this the other day, but this is a recovery mission at this point. I'm sorry. I believe in miracles. Hey, Roddy, I believe in miracles and I want one. And I'm going to continue to pray for one. But are we kidding ourselves? The day that she was abducted, the day that Barney Fife decided that he was going to go on a press tour, because that's what he's been doing. He loves this. He is going on every single platform he can and doing interviews. And the interviews aren't helping this case. And there is a lot of information coming out. Long Island. That's awesome. Got a lot of family from that part of the world. Thanks for the honest coverage. I try. I really do. This is going to be too honest, this one. I'm going to lose a lot of people, but it is what it is. I don't think that there's a chance on God's green earth that this woman is still alive. And for the people that want to crap on me about this, the day that she was kidnapped, the day that Barney Fife went on his first press tour, by the way, giving us misinformation after misinformation. That day he said that someone from the local church called to say she didn't show up. That never happened. He said that when the family arrived, they waited an hour and 7 minutes to call 911. That didn't happen. All of these things spun this off in a really bad direction, right? From Jump Street, he called off the investigation at hour 30. I'm sorry. He called off the search at hour 30. He released the crime scene at hour 30. The crime scene should not have been released now. I watched someone today on a live that walked up a path and went behind the house, went around it, said, look at how hard it is to walk behind this house. Good God. If by some chance they find these people, right? And I do believe they'll find the people that did this. I promise you that's going to happen. But how are you going to prosecute them, right? If the glove that was found outside comes back to being somebody, that glove was found nowhere near the crime scene, and you found 16 other pair of gloves. How is that going to do a good job of tying these people to the scene? How are you going to prosecute this when a defense attorney comes in and shows pizza being delivered to the front door? Showing a neighbor walk up and knock on the front door to ask questions. Are you kidding? Like, that yellow tape isn't expensive. Stringing her up around the entire freaking neighborhood. Have a cop at both ends of the street. So when you come by and go, I'm Scoville, I live in 1612. Yeah, come on, come through. And no one else. No one. Instead, we've got YouTubers who are parked out front. And we got YouTubers with accents from all over the country because there are people driving there. And I don't blame them. 38,000 people in a live feed. Good God. Do you know what that does for a paycheck? And I'm not mad that people are making money on this. This is what true crime people do. I'm making money on it right now. But there is something filthy about just continuing to come on. I can let you guys theorize and I can tell you my opinions on it. I would love for this woman to be found alive. It's not going to happen. There you go. Right? Reality check time. How is this going to happen? And behind the scenes, there are so many people that are saying this sheriff has to go. The FBI doesn't get along with him. And I'll tell you something. If you think this is the first time that's happened, this fool has done this to the FBI since he got in office. Why? Because they investigated him. He's got a reality show, right? It's already in the can. You know what that phrase means, right? They're not still filming it. But this guy is obviously somebody that digs Hollywood, and he digs the press tour that he is on. And maybe he really does feel so much that he is crying, at every one of these things. But it's probably not giving anybody that believes that this woman can be found a whole lot of reassurance to see the guy that's job it is to go find her to weeping. We're going to find her. Look, I'm an emotional guy, man. I cry at really good commercials on television. I'll break down. The older you get as a guy, that kind of just seems to happen. But I'm also not the head of investigating this crime. This is absolutely a feces show at this point. And there's nothing he's done right. And right now, behind the scenes, you wouldn't believe what's going on. They're not giving evidence to one another. Remember when I said somebody reached out to me and said, hey, I'm a source inside? They are. No joke. Now, I'll tell you something. They're not. How did Ashley Banfield put it? I don't have a source high up in the investigation by any stretch. This person said every day when they come in, they give us stuff to go chase down. Most of it is ridiculous. This is one of those cases that is going to be, they're gone, right? I'm sorry, I had to block somebody real quick. Say something about my wife and watch how fast you disappear for the rest of eternity on this channel, you asshat. Tommy, when you're sitting on 40 million at least, why wouldn't you fork out cash, right? If nothing else, right? 70 a month to keep mother safe. Well, there's a lot of things that could cause them to not pay that subscription, right? Especially if it was a family member that wanted to commit a crime later, right? For real. But I'll be honest with you, the neckbeard thing, I'm kind of moving away from it. Because unless they are completely inept, I think this is probably going to turn out to be a psycho. I don't think this is a burglary. That doesn't make any sense at all, I promise you. Still say neckbeard. I still say it's the smart thing to say, right? There is something so fishy about this family, including Savannah and her husband, connect to Clinton. They're not connected to Clinton. I'm sorry, but they're not, Tiffany. They worked for Al Gore. That's the closest connection you're going to get to Clinton. And this is not going to come back to anything having to do with Epstein or anything else, I promise you. So people who think this believe this is a false flag. By the way, I think that's the top 5 of things you're not supposed to say on YouTube. I'm not kidding you. I've seen monkey crap fights at the zoo that were more believable than this Drebin. For real. Hey, Louisa, my South American friend, how are you? This isn't politics. False flags usually don't abduct real people. Think about, you remember all of those unidentified flying objects we saw off the coast of New Jersey, right? All over the Northeast. We saw all of these things that the whole world thought may have had something to do with aliens, and the whole world was fighting about it. People were going, no, that's not true. That's Al Gore is just as bad. Look, I'm no Al Gore fan, but you think Al Gore had something to do with this crime, then you're too into politics. And honestly, I have no patience for it. I do true crime. I have a political stance that probably shocks you guys, but I don't give a crap what yours is because it has nothing to do with true crime. This has nothing to do with the Epstein files. The Epstein files are taking people out. Maybe you haven't been paying attention, but there are a bunch of people running scared from that, and it's not stopping the stories. Every day, the number of stories on Epstein is going up, and the number of stories on Guthrie is going down. We may not see this because we're not watching mainstream news, right? We're watching YouTube. Why? Because nobody will stop talking about it. And I don't blame them. Number one, it pays, right? Let's see here. Just like Alan Blackhorn, the son-in-law hired Mexicans to get rid of her for inheritance. Blackhorn did not do it for money, instead revenge. If you're doing it for inheritance, you'd be better off to kill her and leave her in the house. Just talking like a criminal, don't bum out on me, right? I don't want to hear it. But if you kill her and leave her in the house, you could be getting that money in about 90 to 120 days. There's been some conflicting reports on how you would get paid out on this. Some people say 7 years, some people say 3. That's a hell of a lot of time to have something tied up in probate when you need the money. If this was a money grab, it doesn't make a lot of sense for that. I think that they were hoping to go in there and maybe do the kind of thing where you're going to snatch and grab somebody and try to get paid, and it went bad. That's a possibility. Couldn't the body be on a Native American reservation where the cops and FBI have no jurisdiction? The FBI does have jurisdiction. If you get busted on a res, you're going to a federal prison. They will absolutely let the FBI go onto a reservation. Every single Native American I did time with, and when you go to federal prison, you would assume half of them are in prison. And here's why. Federal offenses tend to be like, if you get caught with dope, it has to be over 500 grams to go to the feds, right? Kidnapping across state lines is a federal offense. Bank robbery is a federal offense. There's a lot of things that are federal and there's a lot of things that are state. But if you break the law on an Indian reservation, because it is its own nation, they don't have a prison. So you get a DWI on a reservation, you're going to a federal prison. You beat your wife, you're going to a federal prison. It's a very odd thing. The Washington, D.C. is the same way. You break the law in Washington, D.C., they don't have a prison. So you're going to the feds. And the prisons are filled with a lot of Native Americans. In fact, if you ever end up on FCI, if you ever end up in FCI Phoenix, half of the people you run into there are going to be Native Americans. Just the way it goes. So, but if they went on on a Native American res, they got to know somebody there. Try just driving into a res as a white person and hanging out, right? Or a Mexican cat or whatever. You have to know people on the res or they're not going to just sort of accept you in there. And every person you add to this crime, your odds of getting caught go through the roof. This may not make sense to you guys, but I robbed banks and I didn't use getaway drivers. That's why I got away with it for a really long time. You cannot have people that do crime with you. Even gangsters, right? The Valachi papers. If you don't know what that is, look it up, right? Appalachia. Once people started ratting, the mafia kind of went away. I mean, it's still in business, but it isn't what it used to be. There are 700 of you in here, including my beautiful wife. Hey, babe, if by some chance you have not hit that subscribe button and the bell for notification, do it before I get angry. And then hit that like button because it pushes this out and makes YouTube angry. And then get over there. Bunny whiskers. Yeah, no. Usually bunny foot, but she's been changing it up to embarrass me. If Tommaso isn't involved, that doesn't necessarily mean Dominic Evans isn't involved. What if Tommaso pissed off Dominic Evans or owed him money? And look, those are all completely legitimate things, right? You're new here, but you watch Reese a lot. Well, I love you for that. Do I think the first ransom note and text was meant to be to put suspicion on Neckbeard and take it off someone else? I don't think that puts suspicion on Neckbeard. And since you said you like watching Reese, you should get over there. Everybody has been telling me how much fun they had watching the show. Fun may not be the right word. That was a heavy show yesterday, Reese, but it was absolutely beautiful. If you haven't subscribed there, you'll thank me later. And you should check out Chase the Heat too. I got a brother that is a fairly successful YouTuber. Done a couple of reality shows, my brother. Doesn't bother me at all. I don't think he's a dick just because he's got a silver play button. I'm kidding. Always. Thank you so much for the subscribe. Look, I don't think, first of all, I think there's a decent chance that Dominic Evans could have been involved. He sure as hell looks like that to me. Let's do this real quickly. You guys are probably getting sick and tired of seeing this because everything about this case is starting to make people sick and tired. But that is Dominic Evans on the left. And don't tell me it's an old photo of him. I'm aware it's an old photo of him, but it's the one that really shows that lip the best. And then look at the picture of the lip with the balaclava guy, or as Reese says, the baklava guy. Any way you shake it, it looks like it's not growing hair because of a scar. People have theorized that perhaps it is a herpes scar. I don't know. I was alive in the 80s. Personally, I don't have any herpes scars that look like that. How about you, Johnny Scoville?
No, it's the what is it? The Purple Heart of Bad Decisions?
Herpes, the Purple Heart of Bad Decisions. I don't remember who said that, but that is.
We love your brother.
How about that? I still don't understand why you steal an old lady. Ashley G, I don't either. And this is why the more I think about this, you saw Megyn Kelly in trouble for her comments about Savannah and her siblings. Yeah, trouble is kind of a relative bunny lip. And I, no one's in trouble. Sorry, but you're not. I mean, I watched YouTubers go live and say, I just saw the guy in the Range Rover shoot himself in the head. You know what I'm talking about? I don't out people, but for the love of God, nobody gets in trouble. What the hell is a herpes scar? Well, apparently Apparently you weren't alive in the 80s, which is probably a good thing. Or you were doing the right thing in the 80s. I personally was not, and I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Johnny's channel name?
Chase the Heat is Johnny's channel's name, and my wife is called Relatable Reese. I still say neckbeard and heard about band members until they say extended family. I don't believe he is to be counted out. I haven't counted him out either. It's the logical assumption, whether you like me or not. That's the logical assumption. You start with family. And for him to come out and say, we cleared them, okay, then tell us how you cleared them, and we'll stop talking about it. Because them giving their phones to you, no idiot is going to do this with his cell phone. Everybody knows that Celebrate's going to come in, download everything you've ever Googled. They're going to get your metadata. They're going to do all that. Even weak-ass criminals at this point are using burner phones, and they're not doing it from their own Wi-Fi, right? Anybody that watches true crime, anybody that watches Law and Order, right? Anybody that spent any amount of time researching anything by just watching TV or growing up with it, they're not going to do those kind of things, man. You chose wisely. Well, I was a criminal in the 80s, right? And 90s, early 2000s. So I made some bad choices. The suspects had to have inside knowledge. They couldn't spend 48 minutes in the house. Am I doing the math wrong on this? A lot of people are saying 48. I did the math at 41, but I am not particularly bright. What do I think happened to her? I have two theories on this, right? And there's only two of them that to me make sense. One of the theories is that this was done to hurt the family. Oh, there were valuables in the house, Ashley G. There were absolutely valuables in the house. I promise you. Did TMZ run a story on Savannah last June prompting Google searches to track her? No. They did a story in November, right? Now, and those Google searches, they've already said that those things aren't going to pinpoint anybody. They're telling us that they happened in that area. How about a little critical thinking? Let's say you lived in Tucson your entire life. And by the way, I lived in Tucson, right? I lived in the Catalina foothills, a couple of miles down the street from there, right? And you're watching television and you watch Savannah Guthrie's big homecoming. And she sits in a restaurant that's been open for 104 years, kind of an institution in that city. And they talk about how she says, Mom, what made you settle in Tucson? You've been here 50 years. A person at home can go, holy crap, I didn't know Savannah's mom lived in Tucson. Get on your computer and go, where does Nancy Guthrie live? Doesn't mean you're going to go kidnap her. It's a fairly freaking logical thing to do. How many people do you think have Googled how much Savannah Guthrie makes for a living since this happened? Does that mean we're all kidnappers? I did it, right? I did it. Someone left a comment yesterday that says, I am always Googling people's net worth, but I'm not going to do it again. Right? I don't blame you.
Don't Google mine.
Yeah. Google my brother's. Apparently he's worth $19 million. Don't believe anything you read, man. If he was worth $19 million, I still can't get the $40 he owes me from 1991. I feel that Harvey Levin is involved, not just a receiver of ransom letters. I understand why you would say this, and he is involved. But the way he's involved is just being a shill and a scumbag, right? This is a guy that came out in an interview with Sean Hannity and said, not going to release any more of these. It's not helping the case. Oops, got one 4 hours later. I'm gonna tell the world about it. Then on the last one, he said, I'm not going to tell you everything that was in this letter because I'm just turning this over to the FBI. Now I'm going to take the next 5 minutes to do exactly what I just said I wasn't going to do. And to watch, what's Fredo Cuomo's real name? Chris Cuomo. To watch Chris Cuomo do an interview with him and say, hey, G-man, I really respect your integrity on this. You got to be woofing me, man. You got to be woofing me. If you use Harvey Levin and integrity in the same sentence, you're not smart enough to be on my channel. I promise you, you're not. Harvey is a lowlife. And if you don't take that away from this, he's loving this. He and the sheriff are both screwing this case up more than you could possibly imagine. And when he comes out and says, I will tell you this, the FBI is very interested in those. Yep, it's a crime. Even if they don't have her, it's a crime to try to get money from somebody across the internet, right? To demand money, then say you have this. Look up the guy that killed Natalie Holloway, right?
Vandersloot.
Well played.
Thank you, sir.
Vandersloot.
Johan,
Johan Vandersloot. He tried to extort the family, said, I'll tell you where the body is for enough money. That's what put him away. He didn't go away for killing her. He went away for trying to extort them. It's a crime. The people that are doing this are going to do time in the feds. It's going to suck. I'm going to do a show later on federal prison. If you don't know what federal prison's like, stop in and check it
I
out.
love when people think they got a break going to federal.
Yeah, that's a really funny thing when people go, yeah, it's way better if you can get in the feds, right? That's club fed. In state prison, you can have a television set in your cell. It's so different in the feds, you cannot imagine. It's a federal crime. You're meeting Bubba crime. Yeah, I'll tell you something. You're messing with old people, trying to extort people when they are at their most vulnerable. Your mom's missing and someone's trying to extort you. Good luck with your rip. Have a good time in prison. Guys have nothing to do but get pissed off at other people's crimes. For real. They want to judge you so that they don't look like such a scumbag. All I did was rob a bunch of banks, but you're evil, right? That's a big thing in prison. You believe Epstein called him a good friend? I don't know which one we're talking about. Just ask JLR. He knows all about going to jail for extortion. Yeah, I'm not going to touch that one. Margaret from Ireland. Your coverage on this case seems the most logical to me. Would you think of sharing your theories with the FBI? Good God, no. I'll tell you a really funny story real quickly. It's a little off subject, but I spent about 60 hours getting interrogated by the FBI for the bank robberies, and I didn't tell them myself. I'm never going to snitch on myself, and I shouldn't have talked to him. Period. I really shouldn't have. But it's addicting to try to know what they got. So you play this kind of cat and mouse thing. And I was sitting in a county jail. I had already been convicted, and I'm waiting to go to the federal prison. And it can take 2 months sometimes for what the felons call catching the train to where you're going, right? So I'm waiting on the train, and I'm playing cards with 3 other convicts, and the FBI comes in, and the guy goes, "Can I talk to you?" And you never talk to them alone. That'll get you killed. So I said, if I can bring this dude with me. He's like, "Yeah, I don't care." So I grabbed one other convict, and I walked up, and I go, "Yeah, what do you want?" And he goes, "We've never had anybody in an interrogation as long as you that didn't give something up." I said, "Do I get coffee and a donut for that?" Or he goes, "No, but when you got out, would you consider coming and working for us?" And I go, "Doing what?" He goes, "Training people," right? He would sit down and do interviews and things like that. And I said to him, what does that pay? He goes, 20 bucks an hour, maybe 25 bucks an hour. I said, "Do you believe I robbed all those banks?" He goes, "I do. I honestly do." I go, "And you think I'm going to get lit up for 25 bucks an hour?" Probably not. No, I don't think the FBI would listen to me, man. I'm a bad guy, right? And even if I've turned my life around, do me a favor and smack that like button. Hit subscribe and the bell for notification. I have to delete 30 comments a day from people that call me an effing scumbag because I broke the law in the past. There's a lot of people that will never forgive you for the things that you've done. And I don't blame them, right? I can live with that. Black kids used to sit in Cook County in Chicago for 8 years because they couldn't post. Nobody ever spent 8 years in a county jail, ever. Can't happen. Not trying to be a dick, but it can't happen. Right? County jails, in a county jail, even if you're awaiting trial, the longest I've ever heard was 6.5, and that is an eternity. And if you do that, it's because you want to be in that county jail. As far as not posting bond, I get that. Like in the feds, when I got caught for the gun running, I owned the home. I was married to an officer of the court. My whole family lived in the same city. I had been there 20 years. They wouldn't even give me a bail hearing. The other thing, too, is if you have even one FTA, failure to appear, they're not giving you any love at all. I think I had 18. I'm an unconvicted felon like the rest of us. That's a classy thing to say, man. That really is. That is a classy thing to say. You should talk to my brother.
Absolutely.
Can't get in front of the judge. Actually, you're right. Yeah, they can get in front of the judge. I'm sorry, they can get in front of the judge. And here's the thing: that time ain't going away, right? If you spend a lot of the reason that people sit in the county jail for 6 years is because they know their sentence is going to be 7, and there's somebody waiting at the real prison that would like to kill them. Honest to God, it is not difficult to get through the system. If you say, "Tell you what, I want to plead guilty today," they're going to have you on the next train smoking in about 4 months, right? They don't want to keep you in a county jail. God forgives. That's right. I actually have a T-shirt always that says, if you want to talk to me about my past, just know Jesus dropped the charges. The real Alex, good to have you here. But I don't want to bum anybody out. If you just got here, this is a recovery mission. Send me hate mail. I'm not going to read it. It's a murder case at this point. And I'm using the word murder, Johnny Scoville. I didn't say it's an unalive case because that's just disrespectful as hell if you ask me. I watched a show last night on Epstein where a person said he died of a suspension injury. He hung himself. If you're that afraid of YouTube, find somewhere else to make a living. People think the system is like TV. Well, and there's just so much misinformation that comes out. Here's what you got to realize. The guys inside aren't going to say to you, "Yeah, they're treating me really well." They're not. And a fascinating thing, one of the first places I ever went to prison, we called Prisonyland. It was the softest prison on earth. I won't out it because I know a lot of guys that are going to want to say that they were there and it was hard because that's what guys do. But I was at a party after I got out and this guy goes, yeah, man, I was at such and such a prison. I went, really? When were you there? And he was there at the same time I was. I said, what was it like? He goes, it was on and cracking, dude. You wouldn't believe how bad it was. And I go, do you mean that when they paved the road and we had to walk to chow in a single file line? Because that sucked. Everybody wants to say that the prison they were in was the nastiest and gnarliest prison in the world, and it just doesn't happen. The point is, I believe in anti-recidivism. So do I, man. And Angola is the worst pen on earth. Honest to God. If you were at Angola, that is an ugly facility, man. You know, there's a good rumor about Angola. And the song The Lido Shuffle gets tied to that a lot. True story. Angola's awful. One of the worst places to do time on planet Earth. That's a true story. And I absolutely believe in it. Here's the problem. The prison system doesn't want to rehabilitate anybody. They don't. It would be very easy if they did. If I go in and I get a cellmate and my cellmate sells drugs, doesn't get a job, doesn't go to school, doesn't get a GED, we're getting the same good time. If I have a job, I'm going to school or trying to get a college degree. Me and my cellmate are getting the exact same time. If you brought guys in and said, you do everything right, we're going to get you out of this shitty unit, and bring you to a better one. You do everything right there for 2 years, and by 5 years, you're in a single cell. Then we're going to take you out of there. If you taught people that you do the right thing and good things happen, but you walk into prison and you go, what's up with that dude? I haven't seen him go to the chow hall in 6 months. What's he doing, man? Oh, he's selling drugs. Or he's running a sports book, right? He's got an illegal store he's running. You learn from the day you walk in that if you want to eat, you want to do well, then you're going to have a hustle. You're going to run a con. It's not a great way to rehabilitate people. Prison's the university of crime. If you get rehabilitated, you did it on your own. And most guys don't get it on the first try. I sure as hell didn't. It is a very, very ugly, it's a very ugly system. And it doesn't much care about the people, which is sad. You went into, you did it in a ministry, you went in there as to do a ministry. The classiest people on earth. I'm sorry, it's the truth. The people that come inside to deal with convicts because they want to help them, they're incredible people. They call them sometimes free staff visitors, things like that. That's a rare thing. New theory, Perp in the video is an ex-cop, military, dressed to deceive. When he walks up to the door, check out his left hand, moves to clutch the gun, instinct. Yeah, or it's really uncomfortable to have a gun sitting on top of your penis, right? You go either way on that because that is the dumbest thing in the world of where to put the gun. It could be, though. It could be. It sure as hell is a costume. If you're a criminal, you're not wearing anything that has reflectors on it. Everything about this, man. But the people that go, well, if he was just a hack, if they weren't a professional, they wouldn't have gotten away with this. The guy that snatched Elizabeth Smart, I promise you, was a hack. That guy was not a professional. If Nancy Guthrie's house ever goes up for sale, I can't imagine anyone would want to buy it. You know, Mike, I tend to agree, but usually it's worse if they can document that somebody died inside. Why that might be a problem is because you get people that want to come by and stare at the house. Yeah, but Johnny Scola makes a good point. My brother said Aleister Crowley's house sold, right? He used to brag that he was the most evil man on the planet, right? It's called the penis protector. It may as well be. Plus, aren't a lot of prisons for profit businesses? Not anymore, at least not the federal system. In the state, it might be. The feds tried to get rid of all of them. In the federal system, I know Dublin still is. There's 127 prisons in the feds, or there were when I walked out the door. They may have cut down on that. Sometimes they shut some. But of all of them, Dublin is privately run, and there is a transfer center in Pahrump, Nevada. All of the rest of them are run by the federal government. But make no mistake, I worked in a factory in prison for a company called Unicor. And I made uniforms for the United States military, the Israeli military, and I made about 37 cents an hour. Can you imagine trying to have a company that makes uniforms and compete with that? Huh? An entire slave race of guys that wait in line from 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning in hopes of getting a job. And I did that every morning for 6 months so that I could get a job making about $30 a month. Because for 8 hours, you don't feel like a convict. You feel like a factory worker. And guys will sell their soul for that. But that is the prison industrial complex. The Tate LaBianca house sold and people live in it today. That's a great point. That she's making reference to she or he. I'm sorry, badass. Making reference to to one of the crime scenes from the Manson murders, right? Where Sharon Tate, both of those houses sold as well. Lino and Mary? Lino and something LaBianca, sorry. I think the perp is a lefty. Could be. What would take 80 hours to buy that would take 80 hours to buy a pack of ramen. Here's the good thing. In the feds, they don't tax anything. So a ramen soup is about 25 cents. But when I was waiting to go to the feds, it was $2.35 for one ramen. You learn real quick to not eat soups. Spell check hates me too. Rosemary. There you go. You know why I can't remember that, right? I got a block on that name. I might have married someone with that name. Look, I'm not trying to bum anybody out, right? Put a 3 in the chat if you think there's a chance that she's still alive. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that there's no chance. And I'm still praying people don't get it messed up. I thought Elizabeth Smart was gone. But you know something? I hate to be the mayor of Realville, but that guy kidnapped Elizabeth Smart because he wanted a sexual toy. He was a very sick human being. I don't think anybody grabbed this woman for that reason. They would have been a lot younger, statistically speaking. The guys that attack really old women sexually tend to be really, really young. See, most people don't think so either. But wait till you see the hell I get for saying this. You know, Nancy Grace went off on somebody the other night who said, realistically, there's probably not much chance. And she said, I am not ready to go there. Knock yourself out. On day 2, you were telling the world if she didn't get medicine in the next couple of days, she was dead. Now we're closing in on the 3-week mark. You knew Elizabeth Smart was alive. I love that. I prayed for her, never stopped praying for her. But I had to pull the car over when they said that they found her. Honest to God, I lived in Salt Lake when she disappeared. She was gone 9 months. But for the first 5 months, I was still in Salt Lake. And I walked with every weekend. Me and my family would go out looking for her and volunteer. And you know what? The family would be out there walking with us. Is there anybody walking? Have we done any of that? Is there anybody on horseback looking through the Catalina foothills? No. There are guys in helicopters flying over it. But they should be out there walking. And I'm not trying to sound like a dick or judge anybody. But the family should be walking too. That's a beautiful image. It makes people want to help. Savannah's just as missing in action as anyone else is. Good God, this is a great example. I thought JC Duggan was gone and they found her after 10 years. Was it 10? I thought it was more than that. She was snatched from Lake Tahoe. And it's just remarkable, the miracles that happen. But though none of those people were 84. These were vibrant young women who sadly had something that the sick people that abducted them wanted. They wanted a sex toy. I'm not trying to be graphic or bum anybody out, but that's what they wanted. J.C. Dugard was impregnated how many times by that sick bastard? And he was a sex offender. They were coming to his house monthly and didn't know she was living in the backyard. We knock it out of the park, don't we? Greater than 80% of the world's population are infected with herpes type A or B, and only a small fraction of people are aware that they themselves are affected. I may have both. Air Supply, what's happening? Hey, past the 30,000 mark. That's beautiful. You all did that. It may come as a shock, but honestly, I don't do that. You guys do that. And do me a favor, it's 1,200 of in here. Hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notification. And 18 years. Thanks, badass. Yeah, she was gone a long time. Nancy was the only one who fully despised Casey Anthony. God, if you're so right, where's her family? Why didn't Savannah put up $1 million day 2 or 5? You're asking for $6 million from me? That's what I'm putting up for the reward. I want everyone on planet Earth hunting you for the same amount of money you want from me, right? That would make sense. You want $6 million? Nope. But I'm going to put up $6 million to anybody. And if they bring you in stiff as a board, I'm paying them, right? Let's get a vigilante or two out there. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You know, with Nancy, I know it's the family, says Lisa Renfro. I can't argue that. I really can't. But I'll tell you what I can argue is whether or not the people that are investigating this have a shot of fixing it. And I'm not blaming the FBI. They're trying. But if this is the way it happens. Tips come in like this. There are people that call the Pima County Sheriff's Office, and there are people that call the FBI. And the Pima County Sheriff's Office, if they get something that's good, they don't share it. Are you kidding? There are all kinds of people. Like I said, somebody reached out to me and said, this sheriff hates the feds, hates them, does not want to deal with them in any way, fights them at every turn, and then goes out there and does that oh shuck shit when he's doing his press conferences. No, they've been here for 3 or 4 decades. We've always had officers in their facility. We work together hand in glove. Yeah. Sadly, I think she is likely gone unless a medical spa somewhere. Yeah. Again, I said long ago, this was Casey Anthony on Grandma. Yeah. Or, I mean, honestly, I think it probably has more in common with Elizabeth Smart. Both of them got snatched in the middle of the night. There didn't seem to be any clues. The difference was the Salt Lake City cops held press conferences. They came out and said, we tested the dad, stop beating on him. He passed the test, right? He passed a polygraph. Now, there are still people who go, I don't care if he passed a polygraph, he's still guilty. There's always going to be that. But at least you understand why they're not concentrating all of their efforts on the father. And that looked creepy. You know, every time we saw a video of her, she was playing the harp. They talked about family dynamics that seemed a little odd. I don't get why Savannah isn't putting up a dime. I don't either, Deanna. I really don't understand why she's not putting up money. This may come as a shock to you. This may come as a shock to a lot of you. But you know the expression, do the crime, do the time? This is more popular in prison than it is on the street. I promise you. If a guy comes in and starts complaining about how much time he's got or whatever, people go, hey, man, you did the time. Shut up. Right? Do your time. I pled guilty to everything I've ever been charged with. If I did it, I plead guilty to it. I'm not going to gunk it up. I'm not going to waste time. I'm going to try to cut the best deal I can. But there are going to be people caught for this. I promise. But maybe don't come out and tell the world that, hey, there's only one place this backpack is sold. Hey, we're using a device that can focus in right on her pacemaker. I'm sorry, man. If I have her in a safe house, I'm going to get out of Dodge. Maybe I will go for the Mexican border. And maybe I'll knock her out and put her in the trunk to do it. You don't want her banging as you're going across it. I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but my theory in the beginning was if they went across that border, it's because she was already dead. I mean, this is not the kind of place you want to stick around if you killed someone. This is a crime of latent, unmitigated rage. I understand why you would say that, right? I really do. However, unmitigated rage, you usually whack the person inside and leave them, right? You want the world to see what you did. You don't grab her and take her away and then do something that is all raged out that no one can see. I mean, look, it would suck to have to pay for info to get your mom back. But right now, what's happening is there are all kinds of people that are popping up that are, wake up and do your time. G-Man, are you an ex? You an ex-con? Rocco, where is she? Honestly, if I had to guess, I'd say she's in the trunk of an automobile. It's very hard to dig into that soil there. It looks like sand. Give it a try. It's like a caliche kind of thing like they got down south. It's almost, unmitigated rage is the Reiner case. And by the way, that's coming up. I'll still be covering it. Sheriff is a scapegoat. This FBI back and forth is a complete distraction. You know what, Lori? God bless you. The sheriff is the person that stopped the search at hour 30. Would you be stoked if it was your mom? And at hour 30, not even a little more than one day, and he goes, yeah, we're just going to stop looking. By the way, anybody that wants to walk up to the front door now, we're good. Didn't dust the front door, didn't take the mat. The flowers that this dude grabbed, he had a flashlight in his mouth. What if he drooled on those flowers? Well, we'll never freaking know because they didn't take the mat, they didn't take the flowers. How is none of that evidence? This guy's been inept. He has come out and said, we have a technology that can focus right on her pacemaker. Laura, you think that's intelligent for this guy to announce? The FBI didn't announce that. When he came out and said, the backpack, they only sell this at Walmart. They're telling the convict that did this exactly how they're tracking him. The FBI is not doing that. This dumb bastard is. With all due respect, he's no scapegoat. He's an idiot. He's an idiot. And he's got priors for this. He has priors for this. He doesn't work with the feds. Why? Because they investigated him on a fraud deal and he can't get over it. He shouldn't be in office. He should not be in office. He's not a scapegoat. And I'm not trying to bust your chops. I'm not. But from a crime standpoint, you secure the crime scene. It's the first thing you do. That doesn't mean everything inside the house can't be touched. And by the way, since we have no idea what happened inside that house, none of us, for all we know, it was a bloodbath. We have no idea what happened inside there. Yeah, no, he was elected. He needs to go 3 years before they can do it again. If the person you kidnapped for ransom accidentally die on day one, would you still be trying to collect ransom 3 weeks later? The ransoms are fake. I agree with you. Yeah, all of that should be, well, look at you. I am so happy that you are here. Tell your mom and them I said, what's up? Did you do that? Can and should a GoFundMe be set up? Well, someone has already donated $100,000, right? Someone has already donated $100,000. Whether or not they decide to do it with a GoFundMe or anything else, do lawyers say whether the ransom must be paid or not? No, lawyers wouldn't have anything to do with that. Even the FBI can't tell you not to pay. The FBI will say it is your decision whether or not you want to go forward with paying the ransom. If you say, yes, I'm going to do this, they will try to put themselves in this. They will try to get themselves into a position where they can show you the best way to do this, because a lot of them have been doing this for a long time. Has anyone said, why the Adult Protective Services were there? Yes, I covered this on one of my other shows. So if you haven't heard this, that card showed up because the day that she went missing, somebody called Adult Protective Services. Those people went out there and then put a card there saying, we came by. They were just responding to a call. Now, if the crime scene had been secured, that person would not have been able to walk up and stick that card by the front of the house. That person also tainted the crime scene, right? She was taken to hurt the family. You know what, Harold? That's as good a theory as anybody's at this point. Honestly, I believe that. Why hasn't Savannah put up a reward? Everybody is asking that, and I have no earthly explanation for why she wouldn't. If it were me and I was worth that kind of money, I would make that reward so big that everybody involved in it would be thinking, I need to go get a pack of cigarettes. You guys hang out real quick. I'll be right back. You follow me? This is just pure speculation, but Savannah's husband comes off to me as a cheapskate. That's probably why they're not offering a reward. It could be. She does have way more money, though. His net worth, they estimate between 5 and 10 million, and they estimate hers somewhere around the 40 or 50 mark. So, but that could be. Hey, I love everybody praying that they find her. I really do, man. I can't tell you. Yeah, APS stepped all over the blood drop. So did every YouTuber too. I would have dogs looking for her along with search parties. Jackwagon needs to hear you're fired. Yeah, it's exactly the truth. Why is there not search parties? Traditionally in Tucson, because the terrain is rugged, right? Really rugged. They do it on horseback. And there's a crew of people that do this, right? There's a good crew of people that do this, but they're not doing it. It makes you wonder if they're not telling us something, right? And they're never going to come off everything they know, and we don't want them to. But what you're coming off makes no sense. No one on earth thought for a hot second. How many people, when I first started doing this, were saying, why couldn't you take the watch and go around with the watch and try to find the signal? And we looked that up and we researched it, and they go, because it's 40 feet and you'd have to hang out there for a second. Then we find out that they've got this signal sniffer, right, that can find it from 2 football fields away, 700 feet, they estimate. Tell the criminals that. Tell the people that kidnapped her that you got that device and you're flying around with drones. Why tell us that? Tell us we're working leads, right? We eliminated the family. We did it through polygraph. That's not going to screw up this investigation. Telling them that we're searching Walmarts because everything this guy's wearing is from a Walmart. We're going to gun stores. And if they're all out there, like the sheriff doesn't get up in the morning and watch everybody's live feeds, at least 1 or 2 of them, they don't have somebody down there at the police going, hey, you might want to know that there's a guy at a gun store that's done like 9 interviews talking about how we were there yesterday, showing pictures and names of people. So instead, when he gets asked that, he goes, nope, no truth to that. We saw it, Jackwagon. Like the guy did a video and talked about it. This guy is an absolute inept piece of crap. And his problem with the FBI is political. When Miss Nancy's pacemaker disconnected from her Apple Watch, would any have gotten a notice and reacted? No, but it's not a bad. No one would have gotten that notice. It basically is just writing down everything that is happening. Hold on. They know something. That's why they haven't looked for her. I think that there's something to that, right? Because they sure as hell are not putting any effort in to doing searches. Now, every day something new comes out that anybody that has been in any kind of investigation or law enforcement for any length of time goes, you're kidding. Are we just starting this now? Right? Why, in the name of God, do I think Nancy was SA'd? I do not. I don't. The people at the door look too old. and again, we play the numbers. In true crime, you just go with statistics that tend to work out, right? And one of those statistics is this: people that rape old women, right? And they don't grape them, they rape them. And the people that rape old women, if the women are 90, the older that person gets, the younger the offender gets. And if you're into true crime, you've seen the horrifying interviews of people 15 years old that raped a 97-year-old. It's not a crime that's usually done by people. The older the victim, the younger the perp for that kind of sexual assault. For whatever reason, that's kind of how it works out. The simple fact that Savannah went to Senator Kelly first, no, that's not what happened, though. That's another one of those misinformation things. She's not the person that called the police. Her sister called the police. The reason that Savannah started calling people, and we got that from him, right? We didn't get that from anyone else. He said, she called me first, right? I don't know, clout chasing or whatever. But if I were her, I'd have called every swinging Richard that I had ever interviewed in my entire life to try to bring more eyes and more resources to bear on this. But long before anybody did any of that, Annie called the cops. When she went over to the house, allegedly, when they went over to the house, 7 minutes after they got there, she called 911. So it wasn't Savannah that called the cops. That is a story that just has been bandied around and people keep running with. When my ex's pacemaker stopped, they came and found him on the ground. It was the only reason they had. He lived in the middle of nowhere. The people knew. This pacemaker didn't stop. This pacemaker, right, allegedly just separated from the phone that was keeping track of it. I'm not saying she didn't call Mark Kelly, but the story is she called Mark Kelly before she called the cops. She didn't call the cops. You follow me? Annie called the cops. She called Mark Kelly and said, I want all the help I can get on this. I'd have called every famous person that I had ever interviewed. And if that's one of the people that I had the most pull with, he'd have been the first phone call. And you don't have to like the guy, but none of us are in her shoes. She is a person that is going through this and has interviewed half of the people in Congress. She probably thought, who do I have the most juice with? For all we know, he owes her one, right? You know what? You're probably new here, so I'm going to give you a pass on this, right? Because this has nothing to do with Epstein. This is a theory that literally just screws this up, and there are people all over the place that believe it. The Epstein files aren't slowing down. They're heating up. And the people that say this was to send a message, what message do you send by grabbing someone's mom? By the way, I watched one last night that said she did the most hard-hitting piece on Epstein that ever happened. Baloney. She ain't even in the top 10. There have been people that have been hunting him down for literally years. That's all they do, right? The people that outed what happened with him in Florida, they'd have been high on that list. She's 6th, right, on the list of people for damaging Epstein and the Epstein people. They didn't go after her because of Epstein. They didn't.
Tell me you're an ideologue without telling me.
And honestly, I hate to sound like a jackass, and I'm not saying this is you, but by your thumbnail, I think there's a decent chance. Tell me you're an ideologue without telling me you're an ideologue. Every person that comes on here and says this comes right back to, if you think a president or an ex-president had something to do with this, listen carefully. Get your life together. If you look for a Democrat or a Republican behind every crime, you need to stop with the red and blue shit and get your life in order. This is an old woman that got snatched up. They didn't do it to stop the Epstein files. Nothing will stop that train. I promise you, right? Ask Andrew Botten Windsor how this story is helping with the Epstein file. Police never did a luminol for blood in the walkway before releasing the scene. Harold, they didn't do anything. There was no dust on the front door. Take this from an ex-criminal. When the cops come over to your house, they dust everything. It's literally like you see in the movies. They take this little thing, and it's changed over the years. Now when they dust it, they take a kind of tape that's very specialized, and they lift it, right? What's wrong with having our president as an avatar? If you have the president as an avatar, that's fine. I don't give a shit what your politics are. But if you believe Nancy Guthrie was taken because of a political thing, you're a jackwagon. I'm sorry, man. What's that? No, and I have to deal with 150 of these a day. And there are people that truly, wholeheartedly believe this is done to distract us from Epstein. I haven't updated this, people, because there's never a chance to. But you see this? Okay? That blue thing has now taken over the red thing. Last night when I went live, the Epstein stories were outpacing Nancy Guthrie since she was abducted by 10 stories. The Guthrie story is falling off and the Epstein stories are ramping up, and they're going to continue to. This is going to go on for so long you wouldn't believe it. And I'm not being soft on it, I promise you. Right? We talked about this yesterday. There's some disturbing stuff in the Epstein files, and I have been covering Epstein literally since the suicide, which wasn't a suicide. I spent more time in the SHU in federal prison. Everything they told you about that's a lie. Everything. When they said this is the camera angle, it's right outside his door. No, it's not. Right? His door would have a food slot on it. Everything they told you is a lie about that. But I've got shows on that. Yeah, but if you think this is political, you think that grabbing a grandmother is going to stop the Epstein files. I don't care if she's the former president's grandmother. That's just not it, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. Any son-in-law is involved. Most people think so, man. Most people think so, right? And we have reason to. We're not just armchair quarterbacks or internet sleuths. We're people that have followed true crime. And what is the first thing you do? You look at the last person that saw the person either alive or before a kidnapping or whatever. Who was the last person to see them, right? It's silencing witnesses, not the story. What witness is that silence? And now I'm sorry, but I'm going to go off on you. What witness does this shut up? What witness is going to go, they grabbed Nancy Guthrie. I'm never talking about this again. Who the hell did that shut up? Do me a favor and get rid of that person. Sorry, you're too stupid to be here. Damn, I was in the SHU. I spent about 4 years in the SHU. I'm sorry, man. Decoding Community disagrees. Time spent between her disappearance date and Trump's birthday, for instance, and you'll get the magic number they leave the trip.
No one's got a quicker trigger than I do.
Oh, God, man. Oh, God. I hope that if you were being funny, that's the funniest comment anyone's left in a really long time. If you're serious, seek mental health, right? Or tell me where you're buying whatever you're smoking, because I've been sober over a decade and I'm ready to give a try to whatever you're getting high on. For real, man. But if that was in jest, you got a hell of a sense of humor. For real. I love that. Yeah, you know what? Ashley Banfield is solid. She's backing up a little bit. She's saying that in her most recent stuff, she said, bro, just skip those messages. I'm not going to lie to you. I have a pretty good time with it. You know what I mean? This is a depressing freaking story. If I can't pick on idiots, I won't have any fun at all, right? God, this world is screwed. And you know what it is? You know who you can blame? Because everyone now is going, I know what side of the aisle he's on. You know who you can blame for this? Newt Gingrich. No lie. Prior to Newt Gingrich, there was no term for red and blue states. He was the first person to say, no matter what happens in this term, we're not going to reach across the aisle. We're not going to deal with anyone. We've been a shit show since. Great book you can read on it. I think it's called Red and Blue America or something along those lines. Fantastic book. What was the outcome with the Range Rover? Great question, Harold. And we don't know what the outcome is. We literally don't know what the outcome is. But it could take a long time. Hold on a sec. Yeah, the interviews with Sheriff Nanos are fun. He does them in about 10 minutes apiece. You know why? Because he's got another one scheduled right afterwards. This guy loves being in front of the camera, right? Thank you, Lisa Smith. That's very kind. Who would keep an 84? Yeah, this is a great, look, is this the entire case right here, man? Honest to God, is this the entire case? Who would keep an 84-year-old woman with health issues 3 weeks, feed, take care of medicine? Yeah. I mean, you could get the medicine to Mexico. Why are you going to do this? Why? I mean, for real, why would you continue to take care of her? The ransom didn't come for 5 days. If you don't understand crime, I promise you this, right? This is absolutely a playbook, right? Every single one of these kidnappings kind of goes the same way. You don't want the people calling the FBI or the cops prior to reaching out to the person that stole the kid or the grandmother or whatever. You leave a ransom note. You don't wait 5 days and then hit them with a ransom email that you send to the news, right? Most people that kidnap people don't want the freaking news involved. This has never been about that. And if it is, we literally found the dumbest people in the world. Mary, what do I think happened? One of two things. They were hoping to make this a kidnapping. And I think family is involved until I can figure out a way for them not to be. And I think maybe they wanted to go with a kidnapping. If you kill someone in the house, if it goes bad and she dies in there, burn the house down, throw her in the shower, take her clothes off, kick the water on. She won't be found for 6 hours. There won't be any DNA. I mean, you don't cover up a crime with a bigger crime. Now, you may think to yourself, kidnapping's not as big a crime as murder, and it's not by way of how much time you're going to get. But if you kidnap somebody, they look for them. If the person's dead, they look for who did it. And when they're looking for that person, everybody in the entire world shows up. Kidnapping gone wrong? It could be. But if it did, it didn't go wrong in the house, right? When she left, the pacemaker was still going. Maybe she dies in the car an hour later. And they go, now what? And they decide they're just going to get out of Dodge, right? And now you got people that go, I can make money on this. The same kind of people that will have no problem stealing your grandmother's inheritance, calling from another country, just scumbags. There are people that look at this and go, I can come up with a way to make money on this. Has Annie ever spoken out? Why hasn't her husband said anything to the press? Well, that's another really interesting thing, isn't it? I sure as hell would have, right? Look at the guy that they grabbed by accident. What was his name? Carlos? Yeah, Carlos talked to the press. The guy that got snatched out of the Range Rover, at least he had an attorney make a statement. But the guy that the whole world thinks did it, all he's got to do is come out and do a 40-second thing to the press and say, hey, it ain't me. I love that woman. Please pray for her. Know that we're working with the authorities. I understand. Maybe I look a little different than the next guy. Maybe that side-eyed look I got is freaking some of you out, but I would never do anything to my mother-in-law. I love my mother-in-law. I'm cooperating fully, anything like that, right? Instead, they run from the press. We haven't seen him since February 3rd. And when we did, he was doing his best Justin Bieber imitation, getting into the car. Don't look at me. Don't take pictures of me. Hold on 1 second. Says you're a know-it-all. How about all of the stuff he is wearing could have all come from a place that gets donations, even the book bag. That book bag's brand new. Take a look at that. Take a look at that backpack. That backpack's brand new. He doesn't seem to be wearing anything that looks old. The odds that all of that got donated, usually that stuff's a little bit older, a little bit nastier. He looks like he's got a brand new outfit on. Sadly, he bought that outfit at Walmart, apparently, because they're telling us that, right? Because that's going to help. That's going to help everybody. They're chasing down that lead. Why tell the public? The idea is you tell things to the public that is going to bring in. We don't need to know who shops at Walmart. There are 17 of them in the Tucson area. Your job is to go track that down. But when you say, right, everything he's wearing came from Walmart, they start doing this one. And in my opinion, if people have grabbed my mom, I don't think I want them afraid that something is going to I don't think I need that kind of heat, right? I would be very, very concerned to keep her around. If you're going to make petty comments, at least have the better grammar and know how to spell the correct words. Since, not sense. I don't have any sense either, so I'll give him a pass on that one. And I don't know everything. I promise you I don't. Look, if you're new here, I'm a convict, right? I'm a convicted bank robber. I did crime for 30 years of my life. I've turned my life around. I do true crime from the opposite end of the spectrum that everyone else does. And nothing about this from a criminal standpoint makes any sense. You're going to go and steal somebody and then not try to get paid on it? It isn't how you do it, man. Why bother Nancy? She only had a few years left. That's kind of what made me first hit onto, honestly, I They said the mask only is sold in Tucson online, but I feel this could have been bought a while ago elsewhere. Well, here's the thing. How many people do you think are buying balaclavas in Tucson, Arizona? Right? It's not a particularly cold place, man. Epstein interview. There's a lot to that comment, man. Thanks for the Epstein interview. Oh, you mean hers? All right, hold on. Don't move. Because the idiocy has got to come to a stop. Honest to God in heaven. The ask AI. Ask any AI model. I personally use 7. But ask any AI model. Who are the most famous people to ever do Epstein stories? Right? Who has attacked them more than anybody? The woman that broke the story about the BS case in Florida, the reason he got arrested a second time was because of her. But they're not going to go after her or her family. They're going to get someone that did, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but more of a fluff piece. She was absolutely talking about the victims. She wasn't going after right? She wasn't going after all of the people who would be threatened by this. She was giving the victims a platform. By the way, there are 6 people that interviewed way more victims than she did. That's not logical, right? That's not logical. And it isn't going to send a message to anyone, right? You think it's going to shut up Savannah? Kill my mom and see if I shut up. She has a platform. If this was to shut her up, she's going to talk. She's going to talk. She's got nothing else, man. She will be pissed, and that's her weapon. I don't see it. I don't see it. What message? Somebody help me with this, man. Right? Somebody help me with what? Where's the message? What does that get to? Right? I'm kind of glad you said that, because a lot of people, right? A lot of people believe that he's in Italy. So I'm glad that you said that. Annie, Cameron, and Savannah all said to be staying together. Yeah. She was naming names that were beeped out in the interview. Have you seen anyone else's interview on Epstein? Have you watched anyone else that did this? Honest to God in heaven, if you think this is about Epstein, find a tack hammer and smack yourself in the head with it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. Yeah, maybe I am. Maybe I don't care. Because after 400 messages of people that say to me, you're missing the big picture. And then they will proceed to tell me which people, right? And, hey, this person's in the files. This person's in the files. Maybe take the time to look at what is said about those people in the files. Because if I were to send an email to you right now and go, hey, do you know a guy named Walter? You could say, hey, Scoville was talking about Walter. That it doesn't mean that anyone's molesting anybody. And there's a long list of people in there that are damn evil, and they're going to pay for it. You watch. This makes a hell of a lot more sense. Oh, I'm questioning the narrative. But then there's idiocy, right? She could have been abducted by aliens. Let's not rule that out, right? For real. I absolutely not be able to control myself living with my sister in this situation. She has to be highly medicated to be able to withstand it, or just living in wild denial. What about someone out for revenge? See, that makes sense. Or homecoming in November to do a show with Savannah returning back. Yeah, I mean, I would imagine that there's a lot of people that could be doing this for revenge. If you're famous, look, I got 30,000 subs. I get death threats every week, right? I would imagine she's got a lot of weirdos that hate. Abducted by aliens. Don't rule it out, right? Don't rule it out. If we're going to go with the fact that this was done to shut down the Epstein case, don't rule out aliens. And ask yourself, who did you vote for? I'm sorry, but if you're that much of an ideologue, I ain't your channel. I promise you, I'm not your channel. But if I am, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for notification. Do hit the thumbs up, man. It helps. Denial is no joke when the truth is painful. Oh, I wasn't being funny. I mean, this is absolutely real, man. A YouTuber just found Bill Cosby in the Epstein files. You know who else is in there? Janis Joplin. No crap, right? Janis Joplin is in the Epstein files. You know who else is? Elvis. I'm not saying this to be funny, but what happens is jackwagons just go to AI and say, list me everybody in the Epstein files. It'll do that. You then might want to go and see what was written about it, because if you don't know who Janis Joplin is, you're going to come out and go, I don't know who this Janis Joplin chick is, but they need to get her too. Why do you think Mr. Trump inserted himself into this case? Have you ever seen when a president didn't? Do you remember, what was the name of that? Trayvon Martin? Do you remember the Trayvon Martin case? Do you remember any huge case that gains any kind of national attention? And he doesn't come out and say, hey, I have something to say. He'll be on Air Force One, and I'm not giving him a pass. I think he should keep his mouth shut. But on Air Force One, someone will say, hey, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? He's not a guy known for keeping his mouth shut. He also called her and said, we're going to do anything we can to get it back. If you think the president of the United States is behind this, I promise you he's not, man. Yeah, I mean, that's a reach. If it's not for the money, no. How about bad wiring? How about you've wanted to bang Savannah Guthrie since the first time you saw her on television? How about you're that weirdo that's got pictures of her all over the wall like Buffalo Bill? And now, since you can't get to her, you're going to grab mom, because there are people out there that literally will go through the trash of famous people so that they can have something they touched. right? There are some weird folks walking around this planet. Bad wiring. I did time with people with bad wiring. It doesn't necessarily have to be to send the message. She maybe just wants they maybe just want to hurt her and the family. There are sick people out there, man. There are really sick people out there. Yeah, the case is real. In my opinion, there's nothing about this that's Trump was the one that sent in the FBI. There's a lot of truth to that. Foya, I'm with you. I'm sorry to say this. I don't understand. No, he's allowed to have an opinion. I have no problem with people that have opinions. But if your opinion is that this was done by Republicans or Democrats, get out. Get out. Because it's a dumb opinion. I'm sorry. It's a dumb opinion. Good God, man. Right? Honestly, it doesn't make any sense. If you're wired badly, these types rarely change. And they get their rocks off by seeing the press, right? Think BTK, think Zodiac. All of these people collect press clippings. And now this case, like no other, is just absolutely out there like nothing that you've ever seen, right? Think about the people that, if you're making fake notes and sending them to whatchamacallit, TMZ, right? Then you're in your basement rubbing one out every night, watching Harvey Levin go on every single show in America talking about what you did like it's real. Yeah, the FBI does want all those people. Doesn't mean that they have anything to do with this. Can I please link my wife's channel? Relatable Reese, if I got a mod in here, can you put up my wife's channel? You will, if you think I'm wild, wait until you see my wife. ABC News last night says their sources have confirmed the DNA is a mixture of male and female. Not to mention Desert Law. They have filmed season 1. Yeah, right. Hollywood. I don't like Trump either. What do you think of that? I'm not a Trump guy. I live in South America, right? Anyone wonder why? Because I can't stand the right or the left, man. Right wing, left wing, same bird, man. Same bird. You hear me? That's so it's a mixture. Now, if it hasn't been tested, right? If all we know, because they can do that on the scene, if all we know is it's a man or a woman, then it could be Nancy's. However, if it's been ruled out as Nancy's, that's kind of fascinating. However, every single person that's ever walked into my house has left DNA in it. Every person that's ever walked into your house has left DNA in it. And I know that we want so badly for this DNA to be the person that did it, but it could also be somebody that worked on the air conditioning unit a year ago. It could also be somebody that they sent in who works for the people that come in once a week and help her out, people that clean the house. Now, I know they get a pool, right, of DNA that they can eliminate. You remember every person that's been in your house in the last couple of years? Hell, man, I can't remember what day of the week it is. Tommy, when Brian Enton interviewed Barney Fife, Barney said he was disturbed because Brian interviewed his political enemies. You were spot on about Barney making this political. Yeah. Look, have you guys done any research on this dude? See how he got elected. He was running against somebody that worked in the same department he did. So they benched him, right? He said, I'm putting you on suspension. He won by 560 votes. If I suspend the person running against me, I promise you, right? Oh, that's so sad, man. That's so sad. Now you're gone, right? Now you're gone. And I liked you. I liked having you here, man. City boho girl. Trump's a pedo felon. What was he convicted of a felony for? Huh? Seriously. I don't like the guy. But calling a guy a pedophile, that means he was convicted of touching a kid under the age of 18. I've been accused of that. If you haven't, it's a shit thing to accuse someone of that they didn't do. I got haters that make videos about me every day calling me that. Now you got to go. If you can't prove that man touched a kid, don't pull that shit in my chat. Right? We did that to Carlos. See how fast that video came down? I wouldn't make a buck off of saying something about somebody like that, and you're never going to be here. And I'm sorry, you were fun, but you got to go. That's an effed up thing to say unless you got proof. What he was convicted of, right, had nothing to do with kids. Calling somebody a pedo felon is an effed up thing to do on my channel. And I don't like the guy. It's not enough to hate somebody. You feel me? Not enough to hate somebody. That we just assume everything they did. I did that with Diddy. I did that. I was getting 30,000 views a video. I was killing it during Diddy. I really was. I was on the way up like this. And then I quit because I found it absolutely disturbing that I got that into it, that I was absolutely willing to just shit away somebody for views. And Diddy's a bad man. but that doesn't mean he sacrificed babies or ate them, right? We got to get our crap together. They found DNA on a 2-year-old refrigerator from someone in the factory that shipped it. Touch DNA is tricky. And you know what? It used to be, honestly, it used to be safer, so to speak. And what I mean by that is it used to take 70 to 90, 120, of those cells. Now, I think with Kohlberger, it was 7 cells, right? Wasn't it 7? 7 cells with the Brian Kohlberger case. Why does everything have to turn to politics? I block him as quick as I can. I promise I'll try.
Quick.
Johnny's got a quick gun. No, look, here's the thing. Statistically speaking, half of you voted one way and half of you voted the other. We're here trying to talk about something other than that. If you can't handle that, you got any idea how many freaking channels you can go talk to about politics? And you'll pick one that agrees with everything you say, right? Go get your echo chamber and have a good freaking time. You ain't going to find one here, man. I got 0 patience. And you know something? For those that don't like it, you're just lucky we ain't in the same room, right? For real. I'm a convict. I'd smack the crap out of you.
I'm on a roll. Tell me to keep going.
Yeah, Johnny says he's on a roll. Try him. What was in the backpack? Change of clothes? Maybe a change of clothes for 2 people, right? Looks like there was at least 2 people there, man.
They called me Riggs for a reason.
That is true. Those chats, look, I want to tell you something, man. This, I think, is probably, if it isn't the Sun, I'm going with Tucson Girl on this. I am. Perp is probably an assessed fan that saw her November homecoming show and got kidnapping ideas from reading her book. For real, right? I mean, look what happened with the president, right? We're talking about Ronald Reagan. I'm sure a lot of you hate him too. But the guy that shot Ronald Reagan was trying to impress Jodie Foster, because in the movie Taxi Driver, there was an attempt on a president.
Take it easy, Jodie Foster.
Take it easy, Jodie Foster. Tarp in the backpack. She left with her heart beating, right? I mean, when she separated, what's that? Yeah, when that was separated from the base, her heart was still ticking. So they didn't whack her in the house. And if you're going to whack someone in the house, leave them in the house, right? Honest to God, why would you take them out? If you know you screwed up and there's DNA everywhere, you pull the gas line, right? And you put a bunch of paper into the toaster, right? You put a bunch of paper into the toaster because when it catches fire, it's going to gas that and blow the hell out of the house. Who's?
Roy. Just because you hate someone or disagree.
Yeah. Tommy, just because you hate someone or disagree with them does not make them incompetent. The best leaders in the Marine Corps were not running a popularity contest, but they were, yeah, right, most reliable. Look, I don't like anybody. I got issues. I really do. But I learned some stuff in prison. Call somebody a rat in prison, and you got 24 hours to prove it. And you better prove it with paperwork. And if you can't prove that they're a rat, then the fellas are going to beat the ever-loving crap out of you the next day. They put whatever you accuse somebody on that you can't prove, it goes on you. Call them a pedo, you better be able to prove they're a pedo, right? If not, they're going to stab you. Honest to God, I hate to say it, but there's a lot that people could learn from just doing a little bit of time. You know what? The area is so dark, you mean to tell me there's no street picture of the car driving at 3 a.m.? Here's the problem with that. So I lived in the Catalina foothills, just a couple of miles from her, right? And they didn't mess with the Catalina foothills. They didn't bulldoze anything like they do with normal neighborhoods. So you got a terrain that goes up and down like this. Honest to God, it's just straight up like swales and hills. So they built houses on top of the hills, and then they built houses down in the swales. So your driveway usually goes, I'm sorry if the stream is sticking, I ain't got a lot of control of it. You're either going straight up or straight down to get into your driveway. Normally, there's a couple of them that are level, but you can't really see your neighbors. And your Ring camera isn't going to get the road. It is designed in such a way that you don't have to hear cars go by or see cars. It's a retirement community, and it is just not like any other neighborhood you've ever been in. I promise, if you've never driven through the Catalina foothills, then you just can't imagine this. Like the people that say, the guy with the 2 backpacks was 5 miles away. He could get there if he was driving 60. You ain't driving 60 in the Catalina foothills. It is not possible. There's no streets. It's not laid out like this. It goes like this, up and down. And every 40 feet, every 100 feet, there's another road that peels off this way. If you don't know where you're going, you couldn't have found that house. Megyn Kelly thinks the sheriff is doing only interviews, not press conferences, so the FBI would not be included. Agree? I think he's loving this. I think he's wanted this his entire career. Same kind of guy that does a reality show and wants to be a consultant on it. This is a buzz for him. Red and blue make purple. I'm smoking purple dragon. So there. Well played. Hopefully you're doing it through a bong. Right? Truthfully, at this point, what you got, it's 2025. Do not hurt yourself. Put it through water. You know something? Somebody write that down. New shirt for Tommy. Some of you have never done time, and it shows. There is a T-shirt that you can buy that says, everything I ever needed to learn, I learned in prison. And it's got a list of stuff. If you tell someone you're going to do it, do it. If not, they'll kill you. If you don't keep your room clean, there's a good chance your roommate's going to kill you. And that's every one of them sort of ends that way. Just announced Savannah Guthrie is never coming back to the Today Show. Is that true? I will have to check on that. Hello, been watching your channel. Decided to join today. Thank you for being and keeping it real. God bless. Yang, what a kind thing to say. Speaking of which, if you agree with Yang, smack that subscribe button. Hit the bell for notification. And then make sure you hit that like button. Boy, does it bother YouTube when they have to push people that say things like rape, false flag, COVID, suicide. What am I leaving out? Hanging, Mossad, child porn, all those things you can't say. I can't understand why there's no CCTV anywhere. There is. It just doesn't show the street. They're filming their front stoop like I had one on my front door, right? However, the street is literally this far down, right? No, Lucky Chucky, I have not been going live at midnight. It's just been a lot. Like, we're probably pulling about 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Look for us on the weekends. Look for us on the weekends for that. But we can't do it 7 days a week, or I have some issues. You watch. My left eye will droop so badly that all of you will be going, what's wrong with your face? If I don't get enough sleep, suffering from a little traumatic brain injury. Sadly, it's part of who I am. This is a rumor. Savannah has made no statement as to what will happen with work. Let this channel be a rumor-free zone. Amen. Thank you, Sonny. I love the idiots that swear that there are lights behind the perp. The camera on the streetlights are only plate readers, no actual video footage. Yeah, and because of how it is built, right? Because of how they laid out the neighborhoods, there's always a house high enough for you to see the lights on. Always, right? One of my eyes twitches when I'm tired. Yeah, mine just droops viciously. I agree with you, Sharon. Why has she not put up any money? Do I believe we're any closer to finding Nancy? I believe we're closer to finding the people that did it. I think that the FBI is working every day in spite of what's going on. We cannot all be Einstein. I noticed the past few days the media is here's the thing. They're not, people say, why are they getting off this story? Don't they want to find her? Because they don't care whether or not, that's not why you do stories. You do it because it pays. Honestly, that's what it is. You have to play to your audience. Always, absolutely. Reese is my wife. And if you've never checked her out, you should go over to Relatable Reese. Why isn't anyone mentioning the so-called Uber person? The so-called Uber person has been ruled out as a suspect. It was a woman. She's taken a polygraph test. Allegedly. She is one of the people that says, it's one of the people that they say has taken a polygraph test. Love your show. Nina, you are so kind. And a super sticker on the backside of it. Good Lord. That is very kind, Nina. I really appreciate you. And get a look at that dog. That is a really good looking dog. And you know something? I hate to say this, but dogs and cats, they got it all over humans. Since I started this, I'll have you know this is a true story. Since I started covering this, and I cover a lot of true crime, right? We do know that Savannah Guthrie has not put up any money. We don't know whether or not she was advised by the FBI, but why would she be if they took $100,000 from someone else? But since I started doing this, not once have I gotten one comment from any cat or dog having to do with Epstein or this being a cover-up or alien abduction. Thoughts on the reality show and the sheriff's involvement in that? I think it says a lot about who he is, right? He's a consultant for the show. I think the guy's got aspirations. I think he likes Hollywood. I think he likes being in front of the camera. Every single major cop force in the world has a media person. It's their job. And I'm not trying to be funny, but there's someone more like me. There's someone that absolutely can go out and talk for 10 minutes without saying Amara, right? There's someone whose only skill is communication. They're not going to go out and solve cases. They're there to simply talk. But he doesn't let them do their job because he digs this. He's in heaven. FBI has attorneys waiting to prosecute anyone who tries to take advantage of this. Just ask dumbass Derek. It's a great comment, Mop. And it's the truth. These people are going to go away. You know what? In God we trust. If they came out and just said, that would be a great video, and that, you're the first person that I've heard say that. Why not make a video to come out and say, it isn't us. You're an armchair quarterback or you're an internet sleuth. It isn't us. We've cooperated fully with the sheriffs and the FBI. They're too stupid to mention that, yes, I have absolutely taken a polygraph test, but we would like you to know that. The Elizabeth Smart case, 4 days in, we knew the family had taken a polygraph test, right?
You know what?
Yep.
I'm not just deleting and blocking that loser.
Now, see ya. Little Iggy, I wish you were still here, but we'll miss you. Thank you so much, Cheap Chick. I really appreciate the support, and I need it now because little Iggy will never be back. I don't care who you like, right? I don't care who you like. Right or left, don't bring it here. He has he has a POI in the background. You can hear her. She's trying, but he treats her like his assistant. Smart, right? Smart. Instead, he comes out and tells the public everything they don't need to know, right? We have this amazing device that from 700 feet can find this woman, and we can focus in just on her particular signal. Now, let me tell you how we're going to figure out everything that we're trying to figure out. Shut up. Do a press conference where you fluff it. You ever watch a guy on sports who says, boy, I'm just glad to be here. You know, hope to help the ball club. The good Lord willing, we might end up in the playoffs, right? Cliches. Come out and do press conferences that force all the people parked on her street to show up in case you actually say something. Everybody else does. Like, this is standard operating procedure, unless you're this dude. Do you think the FBI are telling the family what they should and shouldn't be doing? Probably not. Probably not. But what I do think is that they are advising them. They are the victims, right? Maybe not all of them, but they are the victims. Annie's eyes look evil. Yeah, I don't think she and I would date. Remember John Walsh? He did it right away to rule him out so they could focus on his son's disappearance. He didn't just do it. He made a spectacle of doing it. He went outside afterwards and talked to the world and said, I took a polygraph test, right? It goes a long way. And this is a great comment too. FBI is busy going through every surveillance camera from homes and businesses. This will take time unless somebody dimes out the kidnapper. Yeah, and the bigger that gets, right? The bigger that reward gets, the better. I've been asking for 19 days now. Show me proof actually dropped her off at 9:45-ish. You're right. Right? I think that they are honing in on the people that did this. Yeah, he benches the pilot with the plane that, and I guess the more research I did on that, the pilot could still fly. However, the pilot doesn't run the device that's looking for people because his job is kind of to see where he's going. So it's the co-pilot that he benched. That's the guy that would have actually been looking down at that, and that didn't happen. So well played again. One more, he's a scapegoat. It's the FBI. Trust me, it's not. I've been asking for 19 days. Show me proof. He actually dropped her off at 9:45-ish. We just have Barney Fife to go on, right? Do Leah just subscribe to my wife? You will thank me later. I'll tell you something. It's not as way out there as you think. These are the kind of things, honestly, some of the weirdest ways that people got caught. Also, people that have left, like fans that have left fan mail, people that have reached out to NBC. The fact that this crime scene is an hour and 20-minute ride from the Catalina foothills, from there to Mexico, and allegedly they just now reached out to Mexico, we have a problem, right? Hey, Princess Kate, do me a favor. Rotten hell. I know. I just wanted to have fun in case she's still watching. Yeah, you're going to hell. You know that, right? Good God, it's 2026. The day that Nancy Guthrie went missing, did the sheriff issue a silver alert immediately? They're supposed to do that when elder people are missing. They're also supposed to keep looking for them, right? Give it 4 or 5 days. Hour 30, right? No more searches. Release this back to the family. To this day, Tommy, Barney has a better chance of finding Nancy than his dignity. You know what? That's a great comment. A lot of elderly get scammed on dating sites. They do. Mexico has stated they haven't been in touch with them. Yeah, that honestly though, McKenna, that's touch and go. There's a lot of problems trying to just call down there and ask them anything. It may not be the Mexican police. We have counterparts on the other side of the border, right? There are people on the other side of that border that are American. The only thing that will stop the bogus ransom notes is Harvey Levin getting carpal tunnel syndrome. I'll tell you something. I know people go, he would never risk his career on that. What happens when they come in and go, we can't trace it. No matter what happens, we can't trace it. We can't trace it. No way to trace it. I can see him going like this. No way to trace it. Bet I'm going to get another one of those letters tomorrow. And I think it's odd that he comes out and goes, this was such an advanced and technical letter. What the hell does that mean? A very technical letter. What the hell does that mean? Yeah, you would think that there would be people with flyers there. Although I will say this, man. I will say this. Believe it or not, it wouldn't be the cops that would find him. It would be the cartels. I'm not being a wise ass. The cartels know everything that is going on, especially you get deeper into Mexico. Hey, Lisa Smith says, tell me, I enjoyed your wife's show. Interesting and very sad, but I subscribed. Yeah, that was a sad show.
Not interesting, very sad. You should subscribe to me.
That's right. My brother is also very sad. You should you should subscribe there. There are over 400 badges working on this case. Odds are they're doing way more than we know. Humble Bumble, you nailed it. Way more, right? Way more going on than you could possibly imagine. Hey, Cindy G, but you also have 50,000, right? You know what? Here's the thing. Bunch of YouTubers solved the case. Wouldn't be the first time. Honestly, there have been many cases that have been solved that way. With a 9-hour head start, I would go north. Bigger city, more places to blend in and disappear. You know what? Here's the thing. And everybody keeps talking about how easy it is to go across that border. You got nothing to worry about. Ever cross a border carrying something you're not supposed to? Because I have a shitload of them.
We've had it disappear a few times. It's not as easy as
I promise you, run across an international border. I've done it, and you'll be shaking like an adult sex toy as you're driving across that thing. I don't care how cool your blood is, man. You just can't. You know what? A lot of truth to this. I can't believe how dumb it was that they didn't secure the scene immediately and ongoing. Yeah, absolutely massive failure. That crime scene should still have crime tape around it. It should have a cop on both ends of the street that do not let anybody walk by. You know? Hey, Mike Jensen, I'm with you on this, right? But why would Annie and Tomato turn that over to the cops? Because they're the ones that turned it over. It wasn't like they shagged it on the way in. They called them and said, we just got a BS ransom or we just got a ransom demand and turn that over to the cops. Now, they could be thinking, this isn't the ransom note. We have the ransom note. Roy, boom, baby. Hey, there's a lot of truth to that. I understand exactly why you say this. I really do. And Tatty Chat says cartels know better than anyone in Mexico. Yeah. The cartels do know better than anybody in Mexico. I'm sorry, it's the truth. I know it seems like the Wild West, and if you get deeper into Mexico, it might be a little bit less pronounced, but this is a border crossing where they estimate 44% of all the fentanyl that's killing Americans is coming across that border crossing. And the Sinaloa boys run that town. I've been in that town. I can't tell you how many times, right? It is not. So the Mexican side of that border, Nogales is not the Mexican side. It's Sonora. And Sonora is run by those guys. And you may hate them. I don't blame you. They're not good people. But if somebody breaks wind in Sonora, they know about it. If somebody was down there hiding someone or doing anything, they would know about it. And this may come as a shock to you. They would want to turn them in because they don't want tons of feds of either variety down there looking for something that will accidentally come across a tunnel, a load of dope, right? They will absolutely get rid of somebody that is screwing up their business, which is not kidnapping Americans. It's moving shit tons of dope across the border.
Glass Joe, any tips on how to get my first girlfriend? Help him out, Tony.
Yeah, be honest, be open, right? Don't believe anything anyone else says. Tell her every single thing that you feel and watch how much that will help you. You're trying to get a girlfriend, don't lie to her. Treat her with respect. Swear to God, it took me a lot of years to figure this out. Let her know who you are. Guys tend to put on this show for the rest of the world. Let her know who you are. You'll be set. And pick her by her heart and her soul. And if you get lucky, she'll be as hot as my wife. But pick her by her heart and her soul. I did.
See, that's good advice. You should start a dating.
I should start a dating thing, right? I still think there is some connection between the guy in California. This does make absolute sense. Who texted both Tomato and Annie and made a 9-second call to Tomato saying, we are waiting. Did you get the Bitcoin? Hello? I agree with you. I said the same thing. But when I found out how that person got turned in, I just don't understand why they would do that. Yeah, she can only walk 50 feet yet. The son-in-law dropped her off in the garage, the farthest part of the house. I personally would have hoped that maybe that 2 minutes was because he was walking her in. However, if they told us anything, that's the kind of stuff that isn't going to help the kidnappers know what they're doing. So don't say to us, oh no, he walked her all the way in. We know she got in there safely. That's good information. This is the kind of stuff that stops idiots like me from speculating, right? But when you don't tell us that, damn right we're going to speculate. It would be a really good idea to give us stuff that isn't going to hurt the investigation and then stop saying stuff like, hey, everything he bought at Walmart. We're checking every Walmart. We have a device that's going to find the pacemaker, and we can get in just on hers because the device has something, and they even tell us what the thing's called. Then there are interviews with the people that designed it. They wouldn't be doing those interviews if the jackwagon running this case wasn't out there doing press releases and of things that you don't need to tell the world. Stop telling the world how you're trying to catch this guy and give us the information of what happened, right? Mike Jensen, I actually chased this one down and allegedly, well, yeah, I mean, if they had their cell phones, but the way that they said it was that allegedly they had turned over that information to the cops. Yeah, this is absolutely the truth. Mexican police work for cartels or their families get off. A lot of truth to that. And there's a lot more money in it. Yeah, Leah says, if I lived there, I would redesign my mailbox to securely have 3 cameras facing both sides and front. At least I get a getaway car on film. Here's the thing, truthfully, I am of the firm belief that, I mean, honestly, and I'm not trying to bust the balls at anybody or wherever they live, but I would be shocked. I would literally be shocked if you live in a safer neighborhood than the Catalina foothills, right? It is wildly, wildly safe. Also, why didn't the guy in California contact Savannah Guthrie? She has the money, not Tomato. So why communicate with Tomato? Now, this is the statement, whether or not it's true or not, right? This is, legitimate, right? However, what they're saying is she's not publicly available. They were able to track down the other 2 because they didn't think anything like this was ever going to happen. And for about $15, I can get your cell phone, right, number. If I have your name, there's companies that just chase that down. So they're saying that the reason they reached out to them is because those were the only numbers the person could pull offline. And we know this because this guy self-snitched like you wouldn't believe.
Do you think the 24-hour media coverage in the area may be hampering the culprits from moving around? The
24-hour media coverage, do I think it is hampering them driving around? It could be. It could be, Addie B. It could be. However, I hate to say this, right? I don't think they're going to have her sitting in the back seat. You know what I mean? So if you had her in the trunk, and I'm not trying to bum anybody out, but my God, at this point, why would you still be babysitting? There's no way that this, I'm sorry, man, but there's no way that at this point they're trying to ransom this woman back. There was no proof of life. If somebody still has her.
How much don't they need to keep her down in the center?
God help us. The amount of medication and all that. Don't you think this could be along the lines of the Seth Rich? Allegedly, he was bumped off by the cartel at the request of U.S. politicians, framed as a robbery gone wrong. I understand exactly where you're coming from. Here's the thing. This doesn't look like a robbery gone wrong. Robbery gone wrong is you go in the house, the person finds you, you kill them. You don't take them home.
You take stuff.
Right. And you're going to steal. You're already in there to rob. That really was my wheelhouse. And I assure you, even if you go, oh man, we screwed up, we got to get out of here, I'm going to grab the gold, start wrapping her up or whatever. But she was alive when they left. A robbery gone bad isn't when you go in and find someone there and go, I got a great idea, let's take her with us. That's not usually how that goes down. Right? Robberies gone wrong. Like if you honestly were to Google it, what is a robbery gone wrong? It's when you go in to rob someone and they get up and find you and you whack them. Right? You don't want to leave a witness, you kill them. When she left that, right? When she separated from the base, the ticker hadn't stopped. It was continuing to beat. I didn't see damage to the back door either, to be honest with you. You heard he had a boat. I hadn't heard that.
Janet W., new subscriber, love your knowledge and buy it.
Are they telling us Nancy didn't have the cell phone when she called the Uber to get there? No, she could have had that cell phone, brought it over to her daughter's, came back with neckbeard, went in, put her cell phone next to the side of the bed or whatever. No, that what they're saying is that when she was abducted, right, when she was kidnapped, and you know what? If you take someone out of their house, it's a kidnapping. If you take someone out of their house and leave a note, it's a kidnapping for ransom. But this was a kidnapping any way you shake it, right? So when she was kidnapped, that's kind of a different time, right?
I think they kidnapped her. She died getting in the car and they didn't know what to do. That's why there's no proof of life.
No, what they're using right now instead of that, and it's not really a dumb question, and a bunch of people asked this in the beginning. Still suspect because why did he call from a burner phone? Just saying, I think the guy has some connection. Yeah, you're probably right, Mike. He didn't just use a burner either. He was also trying to use a device to cloak the burner. Like he certainly was trying. The closest water for him to have a boat. What's the name of that? Isn't there water by Sabino? Mm-hmm. New subscriber, love your knowledge and vibe. Yeah, unfortunately, the knowledge is all from the scumbag side of the equation, but I'm certainly trying to do better. I haven't stolen anything in decades. A friend of mine and her partner helped find Carlos, his attorney. Nice. We felt that the IGG route and them following Carlos all week. I know. I said that. They left a comment and I said, I love that name, man. I love that name. So it's not a dumb question. However, the phone can only, you got to get within about 40 feet in order for that to happen, right? They have a boat. I'm not sure. I believe they have a boat, Nina. I absolutely believe they have a boat. There's a lot of people in Tucson that have boats, believe it or not. Yeah, you see them all the time. However, they do have a device. And why do we know this? Because Barney Fife's got his feces together. But they have a device that they're flying around with drones. First, they were using a helicopter. And then he wanted to tell us that they did a lot better with a drone because it would be closer to the ground. Because damn it, whoever took her ought to know that. 700 feet away, they can find that pacemaker. And they can do it eliminating every other device but hers. Hey, you know what? What a great comment. Hey, Paul used to be Saul. We can all be redeemed. Funny thing happened to me on the way to Damascus. All right, everybody. If you just got here, smack that like button and hit subscribe. Hit the bell for notification. It really pisses off YouTube when they got to push me.
I want to know where they are. Tell us where you're at.
And I love I love it when people tell us where they're coming in from. That really does tickle me. Sheriff Nanos changed into street clothes and went to random high school basketball game. Well, I believe it was. I believe it was. Hold on. I don't think it was a random high school game, was it? I thought it was the Wildcats. Right now, in his defense, you gotta love the Wildcats, right? I'm a fan. I'm absolutely a fan. Carlos talks way too much. Yeah, so does Nanos. Do you think Savannah offering a huge reward could be counterproductive? All kinds of crazies would come out, in my humble opinion. I don't think that offering a large reward is ever a bad idea. Ever. Here's the thing. Believe it or not, there are people out there who know about this. I promise you there are. And they may not know about it because someone said, hey, I'm the one that grabbed her. But there are people going, God, man, I haven't seen Johnny Scoville in 3 weeks. That woman got snatched up 3 weeks ago. Johnny's kind of a dirtbag, right? And you end up, see, kind of a dirtbag. So you end up with people that normally would not drop a dime on someone because maybe they're afraid of them. At 6 million, I'm not afraid of anybody. You're going to go away and I'm going to hire security, right? I don't think offering a huge reward is ever a bad idea. Smack it, smack that like button. And if you don't, let's give it one of those. I don't really care how you get it, but get it. U of A, baby. I believe he was at a U of A game, and it's a bad look. I'm sorry, it's a bad look. Now, would he have been out serving, warrants himself? No, but it's a bad look. Daughter was a big Wildcats fan. Good. The number of people, boo, Sun Devils, badass. I love you anyway. How many relatives do we have that graduated from? We have so many relatives that are Wildcats. It's embarrassing. You know what? How do you argue this? How do you argue this? I think it's a person who idolizes Savannah and couldn't get to her, so they got to the next best thing, her mother. After he saw her on Savannah's TV show, forgot what it's called. I'm a Brit. No reason to apologize for being British. In fact, you guys are hitting it out of the park. Pretty impressed with how the Brits are handling the whole Epstein thing.
You're the best looking bro.
What's that?
You're the best looking bro.
Wow, I have the best looking brother? That's a sock account, isn't it? He's typing right now. That could be Johnny Scoville. What's your take on this going with this situation? I got here late. My bad. Thank you. My take is she's dead, and I'm going to get hate mail for that. But why keep her alive at this point? You're not asking for cash. You hear me? If you're not asking for cash, why are you keeping this woman alive? Especially when the sheriff is coming out every day and telling you how they're going to find her. I would have deep sixed her a long time ago. And I'm not trying to be a dick, but it doesn't make any sense. Right? It just doesn't make any sense.
Who did Savannah piss off? She didn't need to do anything.
So I can't remember the name of the syndrome or the disorder, but it's called erotic something or other. You can look it up for me. They have this disorder of people that become so infatuated with somebody that they would take your cat so that they have the opportunity to be near you in some way, right? They'll steal your coat and get off to it. If Nancy could identify the people that took her, did they ever plan to bring her back? Well, we don't know that they could. If they could absolutely identify her, then that would be a problem. Do I think it would bring in a legit call? I think that if you put a reward up of $6 million and there's somebody out there that knows about this, they're going to turn them in for that. Absolutely. I didn't ever believe the TMZ ransom letters were legit. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people did. You don't send your ransom letter on day 5. That makes absolutely no sense. So here's my other take. Not only do I believe that Nancy is no longer with us, and at this point we're just looking for her murderers, but on top of that, I believe that with the current crew that we've got, I didn't say diseased. I promise you. The one thing I can do is speak. I did not say diseased. I said deceased, I assure you. And you offended me. That's the name of the condition. Is that right? Iromania?
I couldn't find it.
Okay, I'll take that. Hard to believe she's alive? Yeah, it's very difficult to believe she's alive. At this point, I think she's been murdered. And by the way, if she just dies, right, you don't have to stick something into her chest or shoot her. You're in the commission of a felony. If that person dies in the commission of a felony, you're a murderer. I know a guy that was a getaway driver. I did time with him. He was a getaway driver on a bank job. He's parked 2 blocks away. The security guard pulls a pistol inside. Okay, now you're starting to piss me off. Get rid of her.
Which one?
Just the one who keeps telling me deceased. Trust me, I could speak. So the security guard pulls out a gun. They shoot the security guard. The guy parked 3 blocks away in the getaway car. He gets hit for felony murder. Because in the commission of a felony, if somebody dies, everybody involved's on the hook. So if Neckbeard was involved in planning this, he gets felony murder. Anybody that is involved in this in any way, if she dies of natural causes while they're in the commission of a felony, they're all screwed. Yeah, Tiki, it has nothing to do with that.
Already gone.
Oh, apparently she wasn't talking to me. Well, that's a bummer. Here, maybe I can do something about that.
Which one? Mary?
Yeah.
I'll change it.
Okay, Broken Doll. Thank you. Well, I apologize. I get a little hot. You know what I mean? I get 200 emails a day that say things that piss me off. Why do I feel like I'm watching the Pink Panther? Because you are. Apparently you're back. Yes, I just figured that out, Jamaica girl. I'm not particularly bright. On the bright side, I never claimed to be, but she's back. She's been unblocked. Got here late. What do you think of what Nancy Grace claimed about the DNA still being viable? You mean, I believe that what you're saying is she says that if you mail DNA off to a lab and they test it, right, you're not going to be able to then take that back and test it again, if that's what you're talking about. In Kohlberger, it was 7 cells.
Spell check will start World War III. I love that.
Spell check could start World War III. Oh, that's good. And now I'm going to say diseased for the next 5 days just because I feel bad and I want to make her. They were able to process 7 cells to get Kohlberger, right? No life, no ransom, suspects waiting on the body to be found, funeral, and collect inheritance. Here's a really interesting concept. And I've not heard anyone say that. Do you know that? True story. What if they've got her stashed out there and they intend to?
Kohlberger got screwed.
You know what? Kohlberger pled guilty. For the love of God. He pled guilty, right? You didn't do it, you ain't pleading guilty. I promise you. As a criminal, you got to take my word for this. He pled guilty. No matter what the hell you say from this point on, you're going to roll the dice on the death penalty before you plead guilty to killing 4 college kids that you didn't do. You really want to stick with that? You can stick with that. But my God, you didn't do any time. I promise you that. Right? Ain't nobody pleading guilty to murders that they did not do. That's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my entire life. 7 cells for brain too. Yeah, if they're lucky, Eileen. If they're lucky.
If you say something stupid, you're going to get outed for it.
Yeah. Yeah, proof of death might be more important. I kind of like that. There are not basements. No, I've never seen it. Have you ever seen a basement in Tucson?
No.
It's a bitch to dig into that ground. Boy, you know something? Here's the thing. For the person that said that, and I didn't block you or do anything else, and if you think I'm picking on you, do a deep dive on this guy. You do realize that there are lawsuits going on right now because of all of the people that he creeped the ever-loving hell out of at school. Like they knew that person was coming.
Look up the Innocence Project. Plenty of innocent people are pleading guilty.
Yeah, he ain't one of them. Tell you what, while I'm looking up the Innocence Project, why don't you go look up the lawsuit against the school and see how many people this guy scared the crap out of, right? Saying creepy things. This dude was a stone cold creep. This was a serial killer that was out of his way doing this stuff. What? Janet says, I did it. Nanos reminds me of somebody with little man syndrome. Can we go with little penis syndrome? Is that a bad thing to say?
I think it's the
Same thing? Okay. Carlos wasn't the one in the Range Rover. That was Daly. Did I say Carlos was in the Range Rover? Or did someone else say that? See this person? Get rid of them.
Which one?
Design rhythm. Sorry, you just failed you're not smart enough to be here. Sorry about that. Take it easy. Yeah, that's 100% BS. Nobody reported that. You're gone.
It's just one of the channels.
If you say something dumb enough, I swear to God, I'm blocking you. There'll never be an apology, right? I loved your comments yesterday about the roads being downrange for most houses around there. I promise you, yeah, it's designed in such a way so that the people that buy these houses don't have to hear cars going by all of the time, right? Levin has tiny man and tiny penis syndrome. Yeah, Harvey Levin sucks. I feel we really need a body to get any further on this. You know what? Believe it or not, that's not how we solve most of these, though, right? Kohlberger, who apparently was innocent. How did we solve him? 74 days, right? DNA on a snap, 7 cells, right? It's great to know, Tommy, you're a Kentucky's Wildcats fan. I'll let you go with that. Insightful and useful detail. I'll tell you something else. Don't let anybody tell you that you're going to be driving 60 miles an hour in that neighborhood. I've said it before. You couldn't do that in the daylight, right? I think there will be arrest before a body. I do too. I absolutely think so too. I think that the arrests are going to lead to the body. Very often, Kohlberger is here and wake up and do your time every effing day. Yes, he is.
Stop using cats.
Yeah.
I'm a freak about that.
Do we know Nancy's camera is smashed or disabled? A combination of both, apparently, right? At least one we know was taken. There was glass on the front step, but they're saying that some of them were destroyed and left behind, and they've been turned over to Google. And we don't know yet what is going to come of that.
Maxine Hall, just subscribe to your channel. You're the only one that makes sense with this.
What a kind thing to say, Maxine. I'm new to your channel. I love you, your no BS approach. Yeah, some people just call me an ass, but I do appreciate that. That's a very kind way to put it.
I don't do that. I don't call you that.
Not that I know of. Yeah, Koberger's a freak, man. I'm sorry, he is. There was so much evidence on it, but you know something? There are people that get onto something and they're never going to get off it. I'm going to get 100 comments today that says that the only reason that Nancy Guthrie, an 84-year-old woman, was snatched up was to shut up all of the witnesses in the Epstein trial, which is literally like saying, I moved to Ecuador because I wanted to live in Rhode Island. We know what law enforcement wants us to know. Maybe her next sub didn't lapse. I would be, you know something? That's actually, I mean, maybe they're lying to us. Maybe law enforcement has the subscription and they just aren't releasing it. It's a possibility. I mean, it's as good as any other. I don't believe anybody's. Whose blood was that in Nancy's house? Well, the stuff on the front porch apparently was Nancy's. They said that blood inside and on the front porch has been tested to her. However, we've got other stuff. The problem, Harold, is that you can't check satellites.
The problem, Harold, is your cat button stuck.
Yeah, John, and it does sound, Harold, if you're sitting in my chair, you know what that sounds like? It sounds like, check the satellites! Because to me, it just sounds like you're yelling. I've seen more people have been talking about the video footage of her being brought home that's not shown. Do you think they're just withholding that? Well, when Barney Fife first came out, he said that we know that garage door was open for 2 minutes because we saw it on film. That's what he said the first time. And then he changed it to, no, the device in there keeps track of all that. But I remember right in the beginning, they said that the camera caught that. Yes, they are checking and the DNA on that glove. I'm sorry, man, that the DNA on that glove probably didn't come back to to anybody in the database because they're not a felon, which probably is because it could have been somebody who was searching. You know, they found 16 pair of gloves, which is kind of a bummer. But yeah, she could be stuffed in a freezer. People do like those. Sadly, I don't think that she's still with us. Cliff Ann, you're right. My wife absolutely takes care of me. And if I don't listen to her, I get nervous. But we're going to find, so as far as the satellites go, right? Let me do the satellite thing here real quick and explain to you how this works. There are tunnels in Arizona that go that go into Mexico. There are absolutely tunnels. They are, however, an hour and 20 minutes away, right? So if they were right down on that border, there are tunnels, and they could have brought her across that way. It may be safer to just drive across. I don't know, but they could have used those. So as far as the satellites go, you can't rewind the satellite, right? It's not. And when satellites go overhead and we're trying to find something, we tell the satellite, we want to look at Waverly Drive. And the satellite changes. It doesn't take a picture of the entire Earth and then we go, now go in on Waverly Drive. We think that it's that way because we go to like Google Earth, but those images are years old. They're not in real time, right? And it is a very, very different thing. In real time, it just doesn't work that way. Well, I do try to read questions, right?
Has ADHD around it.
Yes. But doesn't the 20 minutes within the I'm not sure what that means. I think she's close. Who wants to drive around any length of time with a dead or dying old lady? Truthfully, man. Truthfully, it's one of those things that you thought they used satellites in the Kyle Rittenhouse case? Very well could have, because if you think about it, they probably had satellites watching a street that there was a riot on, right? They had already decided that satellite ought to be looking at something. You follow me? But we didn't know that she was going to be kidnapped. There wasn't a riot on the street that night. So there's a lot of stuff there that could have been Serious inquiry. Hypothetically speaking, if a person owed for a bunch of drugs lost to being arrested, how much time would the people in charge give them to repay before they're in trouble? Depends on how big the load of drugs is and who they are. To be really honest with you, they would rather lose a load of dope than screw up their entire operation for killing people. I made a habit of robbing drug dealers for decades. I really did. It was one of my favorite things in the world to do because I was a heroin addict. I robbed drug dealer after drug dealer after drug dealer because if they got caught carrying a piece and they get arrested, they're going to be looking at 10 years in prison. If they get caught without that gun, they're going to swallow all the dope. When you buy heroin, it's in balloons. And when the guy shows up to sell it to you, he's got 100 of them in his mouth and he's got a soda right next to it. So the cops light him up, they just swallow all the balloons. Like it is a well-oiled machine. I would get in the car, punch him in the head, and make him look like a Pez dispenser. But I knew they weren't going to do anything about it. It's the cost of doing business. You're going to get robbed. Now, you take somebody for 20 or 30 tons of dope, or you take somebody for a crap load of kilos or something. But now it's a different landscape because in the old days, you had to grow poppy fields, right? Miles of them to create heroin. Now, anybody in a garage can crank out as much fentanyl. You know, you don't even need like a 7th or 8th grade chemistry, degree to figure out.
Great comment. Enjoyed being here, bouncing ideas off each other, and Tommy giving his thoughts on it. Makes more sense than most every other channel covered.
What a nice thing to say, man. I love that. I really do. What a cool thing to say.
It is.
I'm absolutely tickled.
If you just stop saying the wrong words you're supposed to say.
Now, if I could just stop saying all those bad, words that YouTube doesn't like. Loved him because he loved you first. Well, there you go. They need to replace the morning show with your show. New way of interacting with people. Yeah, they'd love that. Reese, damn you, girl. I was right about the tissues. I watched your show yesterday, and I had so many questions, and it was replay. You're a very strong woman. She is. She really is. And she's a pisser. She's got the best sense of humor of anyone I've ever met. That would be my wife, Relatable Reese. If you've not gone over there and hit subscribe, I swear to God, you'll thank me later. If you like my style, you're going to love hers. She's me with a little less anger and a little more humor. Yeah. I always thought Woody Allen was weird, not surprised to hear about his Epstein exchange. Yeah, he's a scumbag, isn't he? Woody Allen. I mean, who would have thought that a guy that would marry his stepdaughter would do something like that? Yeah. I'm not a fan. Sad, too, because I dug his movies. But it is what it is. Yeah, she has much more hair, to be sure. Yeah, and better hair, let's be honest. I'm going to be doing Epstein stuff that's going to make you sick. I'm telling you right now. Like, how does somebody send an email that says, hey, I really enjoyed your torture video. If we don't do stuff about this, it will be all over but the crying. Should DNA be collected with driver's licenses renewal? I understand why you would say that. It's also one of the reasons that I now live in South America. Right? True story. The invasion state scares the shit out of me. And I know I don't break the law anymore, right? My DNA is already in the system. But I remember as a kid, they said, I would like to take fingerprints and DNA of your kid. At the time, it was mostly fingerprints. And I go, you want to fingerprint my 8-year-old kid? Why are we doing this? They said, because if by some chance he's ever kidnapped, I'm like, we're going to figure out where he went from his fingerprints. You ain't taking my kid's fingerprints. If he screws up and catches a felony at some point in his life, he can put his thumbs down on your paper. But if you take his fingerprints, I'm killing everybody in the school, right? Protect your DNA, protect your fingerprints. If you give up stuff like that to be safer, you're going to regret it. I promise you, man. And by the way, I would never have a Nest Cam if my life depended on it. Right? Ring doorbells. You should be advertising on this channel. Because if they say to you, we don't share anything unless you have a subscription, I'm glad we got that image. But if she didn't have a subscription, then they lie to you. Right? They lie to you. And let's just hope that none of my relatives are donating to poor criminal goes out there, does everything right, doesn't make any kind of mistakes. And then some cousin of his goes out and decides he wants to find out if he's actually Irish. And the next thing you know, you're doing time. Did that in 85, been screwed since. Yeah, just sub to Reese. You'll thank me later, Robin, I promise you. Do I think Epstein is dead? I can't think of a reason to keep him alive, right? He was a spy. He was also a stone cold pedophile that really kind of liked right? That's what you're supposed to do. Take your child's fingerprints and keep it yourself. That's great. It's still not going to help you figure out, who took them. You want the fingerprints of the guy that stole the kid, but it's not bad to have around. Do I think he's dead? I mean, they got a body. There was a good autopsy, right? Michael Baden was there. I trust Michael Baden. I really do. I don't think Michael Baden's going to walk in and go, yeah, that body didn't look anything like Epstein's, right? But I will tell you this. Every single thing you heard about what happened in that segregated housing unit was a lie. I know segregated housing units more than anyone you will ever meet, unfortunately. Spent a lot of time in federal shoes, and they're all the same. And when they say ring is better, they don't turn stuff over. When they say this is his door, if that door does not have a food slot on it, it's not a door. That door you're looking at is where the dirt team comes through when there's a riot. It's not set up that way. That's not even a tier for people. The tier for people would be one below that. It's all a lie. I don't see why you keep him alive. He's a loose cannon at this point, right? This guy's a stone cold freak that likes to torture and kill kids. Even if he's a spy, how much could he be worth to you to keep him alive? You're not going to be able to push it back in. I don't think this had anything to do with his money. I'm sorry, I don't. This is way bigger than money. It is way bigger than money. And I want to tell you something. How much friggin' money do you have to get into a federal prison, right? It would have taken them, trust me, I know about this, to get into that prison. You got any idea what it would take? And I'll do a whole show on this, I promise. But to get into that prison, you have no idea how hard it is. You're going to have to go through, right? The first security is going to be a Sally port. So you're going to need fake IDs. You're going to have a thumb scan when you get to the next one. Right? I've been taken in and out by cops in federal institutions. Anytime I had to go out and go to a hospital or anything else, when they come back in, they do biometrics. Whoever pulled that off isn't some guy that got paid. It's a spy. It's CIA. It's somebody bigger. This Epstein thing ain't about him being a rich dude. It has nothing to do with that. I promise you, it had nothing to do with that. This is about, the Mossad. This is about all kinds of bad shit. Mossad. It's another one you're not supposed to say. All right, people, I'm going to wrap this thing up because God forbid I'm live when my wife is. Then I don't get to watch her. Head over and click subscribe to Relatable Reese. You will see me in her chats. And then get over there and check out the Johnny Scoville at Chase the Heat.
Please do that.
He can do things you absolutely would not believe. You know what? I hate that. Listen, I hate that sheriff too. I think he's absolutely inept. In the future, I would love to hear every reason you don't like him other than his political party, because that doesn't mean shit here. It really doesn't. I don't hate the guy because of his political party. I got way more good stuff to hate him for than that. Right? He's inept. He still hasn't secured the crime scene, and we're at 3 weeks. If by some chance they did catch that person, right, it's going to make the defense people really, really.
I asked DSCH if he's a flat earther. I'm just curious. I got a feeling.
Hey, I want you to know this is no disrespect because it's not coming from me. But Johnny Scoville would like to know if you think that the earth is round. Not trying to bust balls.
That's for DSCH 3241.
Yeah, no, I got him on the screen. If they can show a fake Ghislaine, they can do anything. That's not Ghislaine Maxwell. Now, look, I understand why you're saying that, but I would say this too. I showed up at Lewisburg Federal Penitentiary, right? And I did it with a bunch of stone cold killers, including, if you happen to be into this kind of scene, Big Meech was on the bus with me. That dude's a stone cold killer. And after we saw the outside of that wall, every guy in that bus looked like you had never seen him before. And I remember the first time Johnny Scoville came to see me, the only time that Johnny Scoville ever came to see me in a prison. Did I look anything like me? It's amazing what some time in there will do. However, her nose looks a little jacked up. I'm not going to lie to you. But here's the other thing. How much money you got to pay someone to do 20 years in federal prison for you? Think about that. You guys haven't done time. I swear to God, right? I'm not a young man, but even at 40, knowing what I know now, if they said, I'll give you $25 million to do 20 years, ain't no way in hell. I'll give you $100 million to do 25 years in a federal penitentiary, no way in hell. No way in hell. Freedom is worth more than money. It's worth more than anything. And sadly, freedom is wasted on most of you people that have never lost it. No appreciation at all. Oh, okay. Well, we'll give you a pass then. It was a snarky comment. I like snark as much as the next guy. In fact, I used to be famous for a segment called, remember? Tommy's Snark Attack. All right, people, I will see you on the next one. Between now and then, smack the subscribe button and all that nepotism stuff. You need to do it for Johnny Scoville. You absolutely need to do it for my wife. That would be Chase the Heat and Relatable Reese. I will see you on her channel. Between now and the next time, I see you. Put a little love in your heart and keep praying for this family. And I would pray that she's found quickly and that they will find peace. All right? We'll see you on the next one. God bless. Bye-bye.